it will bring fear, Yah. Fears everything. Yahweh loves converts the soul. I guarantee He answers everything. To know Yahweh,
Leave people alone.
the Hebrew thing.
Leave them alone.
Mostly prominent, like Shalom, because we're dominant. Yahweh's strength is greatly marketed. The beginning, because He started it. Scriptures written with 2 ears to listen. Women, men, and children. Here is the prescription. Our way of life is not a religion. Hebrew Israelites, the secret treasures hidden. We were chosen and given a mission. They could read the Torah, but not with His wisdom. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Gotta praise God. Praise God. Represent. We gotta represent. We have the strength. We also
Leave him
represent.
alone.
Seeking God. Always seeking God. Seeking God. Always seeking God. God is king. He is our Elohim. We have the strength. We also represent. Pray for your spirit. Keep trusting God. I guarantee He heals it. Remember where He brought you. Never for.
All right, fathers, I want to show you a perfect example of how people are very ignorant to the struggles and what's the real problem going on out here, even our spiritual leaders. Well, first of all, I want to, all I ask is to finish speaking, and whatever I said that was wrong, you can correct me. One thing I will say about all the Morehs, not just Moreh Aaron, is when it comes to answering questions and not being afraid to let somebody talk and not cut them off, none of them hold a candle to Alicia. We had a great loss when Alicia died. Now, they really don't want to answer questions. They really don't want to answer to what the people are saying, regardless of how nice they're saying it. So I apologize if this offends you, and I hope I don't get cut off or be hated for what I'm going to present. But when it comes to Moreh Aaron, I want to make sure to present what I wanted to say and what I was cut off from saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this thing started. All right.
Y'all get up, and from day one, get these knees up. Get this up. My man, it's good work. Yeah. Because Mike does. That's right. People ain't gonna, you've been powered by her, and that's what she was gonna do. But now I'm getting ready to show you the real. Everybody ain't gonna call you. Everybody ain't gonna take you and pacify you. I'm getting ready to let you know, not that I don't know, but I'm getting ready to show you what's real out here. Especially as a young man. Now, I think if he obligated that, no, you can't bring him to me. I ain't take it.
All right, so right there, we're seeing clearly he knows the importance of fathers and what they do for children. So he let it be known right there. You got to give props where it's due.
Huh? It would have went. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I don't apologize, and by now you should know I don't apologize when I'm teaching this. Hallelujah. Because I know this is absolutely necessary. If you want to be college, go to another class. Hallelujah. But I know the word of y'all life.
Now, I don't want to take this personal, but after I kind of put my hand up like I had a question, I felt this, I thought this was directed to me. Maybe not. I shouldn't be in my feelings. I'm a cold grown man. But, when he said, but you'll see that it's definitely directed towards me and the stuff that I was saying, because he knew I was going to push back on this rhetoric.
Yes, sir. And I know what's wrong with our people. And I'm not going to make no excuses. Yes, sir.
Now, he said he knows what's wrong with our people, but he never acknowledges the system that incentivizes divorce, that incentivizes disrespecting the man. And I'm going to point that out later on.
Oh, God. And in a great deal of situations, the men, like the scriptures say, have failed. Yes. Oh, God. For sure.
Now he says the man has failed, but he doesn't recognize what the Almighty say. It's not about men failing. It's about what the Almighty say. Am I right? Now, we all know Isaiah the 3rd chapter. We know about Isaiah 3. Isaiah 3 and 12. What does it say? As for my people, children are the oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy pasture. So it says, women rule over them, and they which lead thee. So does the man have a choice on who rules over them? All right.
Look, he said, if you will go with it, then I will go. And look what she responded to him.
And she said, I will surely go with thee,
Well, I'll go.
notwithstanding
Notwithstanding.
the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor.
But if I go, how can you get in honor? How can your manhood really be intact?
For you, ooh,
If I go,
it ain't gonna be
so the
intact.
woman gotta go and lead you.
Bro, that's oh my
If they see
God.
a woman leaning on the battlefield, they looking for the leader, they looking for the commander, they looking for the general, and they see a woman standing out there. We gonna get the victory because Yahweh promised us the victory. He loves us that much. But you can't get no honor.
You ain't gonna get nothing.
You can't get no honor when they see me lead. When they see me taking the forefront.
That's right.
When they see me assuming that position.
Okay, and basically what happened? You know what I'm saying? Verse 16 of Isaiah 3. Moreover, Yah said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. What does Isaiah 3 and 12 say? As for my people, children are the oppressors, and women rule over them. But we got more scriptures in regards to this. Let me continue.
No honor coming to you.
That you relinquish to me.
You relinquish.
Huh?
Gave up your honor.
I hold no greater badge. And I hope they know about me. I hold no greater badge than the badge and the honor of saying I'm their father. Because for 20, 17, 10, and 13 years, I've done what a father's supposed to do.
Oh, God.
I say I spoiled, but I've done from day one.
That's right.
From the day he came out and opened his eyes, and I was the first one he opened his eyes to.
Yes, sir.
I went to work sick with ailments, dog tired. I've come home dog tired and still spend time with whatever they're doing. Practices. I've been there, I've put in the work. That part of me, when I go to web office, nobody will never have a question. I didn't relinquish that to somebody else. I've been helped, but I didn't relinquish that because that's mine.
Okay, let me jump in here. One thing I definitely want to point out is when we think about Moreh Elisha, where was his wife at? What was his relationship with his children? What was his relationship with his baby mother? You know, with him trying to say these particular things, what about Moreh Dan and his Christian wife and the problems that he always talked about in class? All right. Moreh Aaron acts like he's exempt, and that if his wife, which I never seen in class for over a year, ever felt like she wanted to divorce and take the children and put him on child support, that it couldn't happen. maybe he does have a real good relationship with her. Maybe his wife, he does have, and that's good. But he's saying that he's exempt from that possibility of it happening to him, because there's no way in hell that his wife would do that to him, and maybe not. But he is not exempt from getting that done to him, just like the Moreh Alicia Israel wasn't exempt, and just like Dan had a Christian wife, and he was not exempt from anything the state would want or put on him. But let's continue, though, because we're not done.
My honor when it comes to that. Oh, God. I don't know what else you want from man. Man. Good people, father. I know that. I know that. Well, Yahweh shall sell scissors into the hand of a woman. And the war arose and went with a rock to death. And that's what she wanted back. Man, you can't get what you should receive as a man if you're willing to relinquish your position. So think about this. That's the lesson. Hallelujah. Now that's what we find.
Let me say something about this. Let me get in and say something about this. Hold on. Let me cut this off. Let me cut this off. He said, relinquish your position. All right? There is many ways that your position can be relinquished without you having any power in your hand. Just like it says in Deuteronomy 28, where your children will be taking you with no power in your hand. He gonna go over 28 too. We're gonna go over 28. He gonna actually go to Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna talk about that. But he wanna say, I guess it's a mockery. It's a mockery of the fathers who are trying to fight for their rights, and because they couldn't do it, he was a man about it. He did it. All right, let's continue.
Over the man. He gave him every choice, every chance to maintain his role. He didn't say, hey, y'all ain't good, men ain't gonna do it anyway. Don't have to do nothing. It's sad we got so many men that's happening like that today. He would maintain the position that he naturally should be in. Now that's the first chapter. Let's see another of that.
I like what he's saying here, because you see right here, he said this is something other women don't do. That he wished to maintain his place. She wanted him to maintain his place as a man, to be the head of the household. She did. That's not happening today. All right? What he's saying is not happening today. But guess what? He never want to discuss why it's not happening. Let me tell you the real dysfunction of what's going on here. What he's trying to focus in on is the man and the women. And the problem is he never wants to acknowledge the state, the incentives to get a divorce, the incentives to keep children away from their parents with child support, even when it comes to children's services. He don't want to talk about that at all. He want to put all the blame on the men and the women, but none on the state and what they're doing. And the thing about it is, I'm going to tell you like this. He's talking about the state. If he got a driver license, which I know he does, because he talks about getting tickets. If he got a birth certificate, all right? If he got these things, then he got jurisdiction to the state. If he got a marriage license through the state, he got jurisdiction to the state. So why is he ignoring the state when it comes to this particular thing and want to cut me off about the state? But let's continue, though.
Start at 1. Pastor, chapter 1,
Let's see what we can out of this. First one.
Hallelujah.
Yes, it's gonna be it.
All right. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the third year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of the province being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty, many days and 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan.
104 scores, 180 days. This king was doing feasts. So 180 days. I'm sure in 180 days, divide that by 30. 180 divided by 30 is 6 months. Okay, if we're going to say a month is 30 days, which we already know, we're going to argue about that. But that's 6 months roughly. All right. So his wife knew what he was doing. Let's continue.
And the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace.
So for all what he had, he just going to party and letting everybody, appreciate what's going on with his wife. Go ahead.
Where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings, and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a payment of red and blue and white and black marble. And black. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mahuman, Bizah, Harbonah, Bingah, and Abinah, Zethar, and Carcas, 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
Like everything else, this is hard. But you got to find a woman. You ain't got to talk good. You got to find a woman. It's bad. You see, wear the crown. I mean, like I said, like everything else, all gold, the vessel, and everything that he had, he wanted everybody else to get a taste of, what we rolling with.
Right.
want everybody to see this sweet thing, Huh?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, told him, say, hey, go get her. You know? 25, verse 12.
But the queen, Vashti, refused to come at the king's command by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wrong, and his anger burned in him.
Now, what made him upset?
The woman that come when he asked for her to come. She refused to come.
There. Somebody sitting there. So he felt what?
Disrespected.
Huh? That first bill block you put up there.
Respect.
Huh? This was a display of great
Disrespect. Most definitely.
And see, they said, you brother and sister back there, you might not want to be with it. You might not always want to go with it. Keep going. But they respect each other enough to make allowances that it is mightily important. Okay, I really don't want to go there, but I'm going.
Yes, sir.
But where the respect came when I asked the question, when I was cut off later in this video, where was the respect? You know, I didn't say anything against him, and you guys will see later exactly what I said because it's on this recording. I didn't say anything wrong, so therefore he cannot address anything that I said that was wrong. But we gonna continue though.
Not because I'm put it on the screen, but because I respect my wife and her feelings. I respect my husband and his feelings. A level of respect.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir.
People miss this. Sometimes we do things, and these are small, these are what they call small things, minute things. We do without understanding the damage that can be done. Because who wants to be disrespected?
Nobody.
Well, I said,
And it is disrespectful not to hear a brother out. I guess he thought I was being adversarial with the things I was saying when I was just stating facts.
you got to public, on front home. You don't front on her. You don't front on her.
I guess this is a level of fronting because I put it out here, but I'm gonna tell you like this. You're gonna see the level of disrespect lodged at me. All right. So I really just wanted to put some clarification because, you know, and this happens in all the houses of Israel. Let me be clear about something about Aaron. Aaron, he's the best to answer questions about the law right now as we speak. I'm gonna give him props where props are due. No other teacher would I ask a question about the laws of the Almighty than Brother Aaron out of all four classes. I'm gonna be that clear. And nobody else would I ask about false doctrines like any other doctrine in the New Testament, the Quran, than the Moreh Aaron. So let me get Ishah that props right now while I have a chance. But I think there's a level of pride when it comes to Moreh Aaron. He does not know about the system. And I bet you he would tell me he does. But it's obvious if you knew about the system, then you would not cut me off when I talk about the system. Let me continue.
It's disrespectful. Believe me, you got enough time then when you need to give them all the hell you can give them. Respect. What did Ricky say? R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Found out what?
It means to me. I heard Birdman put some respect on my name.
Found out what it means to me. Huh? Found out the hard way. That's what she's saying about. Huh? Just a little respect. Go a long way.
Just a little bit. Yes, sir.
And he felt very disrespected. That's what drove him to be very angry. Huh?
Yes, sir.
They was burning him.
But it didn't drive me to be angry. It's to be expected that they don't want you to finish your thought pattern. Like I said, none of the teachers hold a candle to Moreh Elisha. If Moreh Elisha let you say everything you want to say, he would never cut you off. And fact is, with Moreh Elisha, he would make you not even want to ask a question because you'll get shut down. So you already know you had to come correct. With these teachers today, they cut you off. It is what it is.
Verse 13.
Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Koshina, Shadar, Amathai, Tarshish, Merez, Marsena, and Memuncan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat first in the kingdom.
We see come, huh? And I heard about something when y'all follow me in. There's another of these 600 written all over your face.
Yep.
You might say a word?
Yep.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
That's what people don't understand. So when you're going through things,
It's written all over your face.
they look, they sit there,
You don't
they look at
have
him,
to say your word.
but he's sitting there. He probably think he's concealing it, but he's sitting there, he's like, ooh, she ain't coming. And they're like,
Look at his face.
You know, he's sitting with high profile people.
Yep. The first. This is his first person. He's the first one he sat.
They all high profile. So
Yep.
now he really feeling it like,
How high about you mean?
huh?
Uh-huh.
He said, what shall we do unto the queen Vashti?
According to law, because he had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus, the chamberlain, and Memuncan answered before the king and the princes.
Watch this.
Vashti, the queen, have not done wrong to the king only,
This ain't no offense just against the king.
but also to all the princes.
This offense to all the what?
All the princes,
And to all the who?
all the people
And where?
that are in all the province of King Ahasuerus.
Ooh, I gotta jump in.
When we out there being ratchet, ghetto.
I gotta jump in. Now, what did he just say here? Now, he said that they disrespected all the men because you're a king. And at that time, they knew what a king was and the king of his castle, and they knew the nuclear family, they knew what a man was. But right now, with the state gives incentives. That's why 70% of divorces start with women. All right. They initiate 70% of divorces. Why? Why? Why do women, when it comes down to disrespecting men, they know they can go to government daddy and take him for broke, take him for child support, take him for alimony. They know that they're going to win and he's going to be put in subjection. So what's happening in this scripture story is the truth, but what's happening here, why is what happening here? It's not because of what the men are doing. It's not because of what the women are doing. And that's one thing that he has at fault, Mr. Moreh Aaron. What you have at fault is you want to keep talking about the men and you want to keep talking about the women, but you do not talk about the state in which you have a license to drive. Okay, you can drive without a license. You can travel. All right. You have a birth certificate. What that means is the state is controlling certain things. They're controlling these particular situations. And why do women disrespect a man and divorce the man and say, F you, because I'm going to get you? Why? It's opposite of what's going on now. Because of the state. So now what you see is the king and all the princes saying that's the state at that time. At that time, the king and the princes are the state. And they're saying a man is supposed to be a man and you cannot disrespect a man in his house anywhere. But now the state is saying disrespect that man. We have something called no-fault divorce here in the United States. Aaron, do you know about no-fault divorce? That's the reason that the state and these princes now today are these judges who tell you a woman to do that. They're encouraging what Vashti is doing because of the state. It ain't because of the women. It ain't because of the men. It's because the state will give them benefits for it. Let's continue, though. Let's continue because all I ask is for the people to let me finish what I was saying. Yes, men and women have a level to blame, but let's continue, though. Let's go. I'm not going to stop together. You know what I'm saying?
And just gonna tell them all and let everybody see it. You're not disciplining the man. There's a little daughter out there. She picking this up. And she start talking. A certain grow up thinking this is acceptable behavior. Other people see what they have greater, what you talked about earlier, concept, they have greater ramifications than what we think.
Yes, sir.
Think about it, but that's the thing. We don't think. You just fall behind it.
Right.
Huh? You got to tell him. It don't stop him what he's doing. It ain't changing much, but you gonna make it known right now in front of everybody.
Right.
And I'm afraid that everybody don't even know your business.
Hallelujah.
There's some things you bought. Huh? But this put him on Front Street in front of everybody. And that's why I said, not only do they wrong you, she wrong you. She set a bad tone with all people.
Oh man. I love that. She set the wrong tone. Now, what sets the wrong tone here in America? Is it the women, the black women that set the wrong tone in America? Because a lot of people want to say, I hate the women. I'm talking bad against the women. In fact, later on in the recording, you're going to hear somebody talk about he blaming the women. Is it the women that do this? No, it's not the women at all. It's the state that set the tone for women to do that. It ain't the woman. They don't have no power to keep a child from their father. A father is a man, a warrior. A woman cannot keep it, but if she can call the police, get a restraining order, or have the magistrate say you cannot see your child, you're a man, you don't have the right to. And that's what they're doing. Let's continue, because I really feel like it's ignorance. He don't know that that's what they're doing. It's okay. The day you gonna learn today.
The deed of this queen shall come abroad unto all what? Women. And that's what they were particularly concerned with. The rest of the women in the province gonna get all over gonna get it.
Yeah.
And if the queen can get away with behavior like this, versus the king, whose commandments should stand, what you think the regular everyday woman gonna do?
Oh my God. Oh my God. What do you think they're gonna do? You know what I'm saying? The cigar. What do you think they're gonna do with the cigar? What do you think that the women gonna do when they see that when a woman get a divorce from a basketball player, from a football player, which happened recently, they can take them for broke. They have not made no money, but they can take them for broke because they side with the women. They're gonna get a divorce. They're gonna say, fuck you, you're not a king of shit, because the state is the king, bitch. And that's what happened all the time. All right. Let's continue though. Let's continue.
With her man. We get ready to have hell on our hands.
Yes, sir. And they all about
Between men and women. If we don't do something to show that this is unacceptable.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And we got hell. We got hell on our hands because it is acceptable today. Why is it acceptable? Because of the state. Because the state get billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars with child support. Not only with fathers, but with mothers who get their child stolen through children's services. Millions of mothers who get their child stolen through children's services. Tell me it's not millions of women. Why are you trying to say I'm going against women? You are neglecting the state, Mr. Aaron. You're neglecting the state. You don't want to pay attention to what's going on with the system. And that's what I'm trying to point out before you cut me off.
You're going to have that. Huh? For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she...
Oh my goodness, do the women despise these men now that they know they can divorce and rape their ass? When they know that they signed a state contract, that they the ones in control, because at any time they want to get a divorce, you're going to side with that woman and going to put him under subjection? We say, well, it don't happen all the time. But let me tell you this much, with children's services, if you don't have a man, that man ran away, children's services are going to go after that woman and steal the child.
He came not. And as you read further, we won't, because we are going to break, but that's the precedent of her not being queen. No more. Come on. You don't deserve
Being no queen.
that as a queen.
That's right. She was up. Hey!
People call us the king and queen in these streets. I said, well, what's he doing to deserve that title? Because queens don't carry themselves like that. Queens don't rock like that. As I said, I understood it's not the bondage. It's not even the nightfall. I said it last week. It is the mannerisms that go along with it. How are you carrying yourself? Because the way you carry yourself denotes what you deserve. And many people don't carry themselves in a king, because kings don't wear their grouds and trousers below their drawers, showing all their wares. Kings don't look all soft. Kings don't come out looking any kind of way. Kings come out looking like kings. Kings come out looking like they always taken care of. Kings walk, even in nature, the peacock. I can take you to the zoo today.
But Moreh Aaron, when we were in the house of Israel, how many kings was it at any one time? All right. I understand people talking about being kings and things of that nature. The Almighty said we're a nation of priests. So maybe you can talk about how priests always clean and wash themselves and bathe themselves and being clean clothes. But for you to talk about everybody being a king, everybody was not a king. It was only one king at every particular time. I know this may be unpopular opinion, but the Almighty didn't say we were a nation of kings. All right. That's why he said we had these one kings. All right. We didn't have more than one king at any time. Unless we was divided in Israel and, Yehuda, then we had different kings of those territories. I will admit that. But that was only two kings. It wasn't everybody being a king. Let's continue though.
Hey, and when we get to the zoo at the little train thing at the entrance, they got peacocks that they let fall around. And look, peacocks strut, and they get right there, it's right at the entrance. And you know what they'll do? They'll stop and go. You stand there. You don't move nothing. All the feathers, all the colors, and you turn, and you look at it. And you look again. And you look. And they got the brand. They got this. That's not. It's a little bit of dry and look like it. And you know, sit there. That's a good thing. Look in. Really slow. Look back.
He's too cool.
Because he carries himself in a regal way.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Ain't no feather popping up here. Then it's all down here. You're like you're black or something.
You know, I need you all to check me out real quick. Got the hair down, got the hair up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I guess I'm just not a king. We gonna continue though. I had the same shit yesterday, but we gonna continue though. We ain't gonna.
Nah, it look like something. Huh? It look like something you should stop for. You should pay attention to. You should honor. That's what he look like. Huh? That's what kings look like. That's what queens look like. They look like something that should be honored. That should be paid attention to. That deserve your respect. Commands your respect. Huh? So these are lessons, sister. These are lessons that need to be taught. Somewhere. Somewhere they need to be taught. One day. Listen what needs to be understood. That's not being taught. And that's why we see what we see. It's a lot of lessons. You know, like I tell my son, it ain't simple enough that you just go to Bible class. Follow me to go to Bible class. And she got issues too.
Hallelujah.
She got to come out. Some give me, she got to come out of the Bible class. What? No, I'm They're going to be going to class with the Almighty, and that's it. Just about Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Hold on, y'all. Right. No, you keep y'all open, research.
I can agree with that.
Number one, you know who you are. You set your standards for what you want. Ain't nothing wrong with having standards, man and woman.
Hallelujah.
Meet those standards. And to meet those standards.
You just don't have your standards too high. But you pushing that.
You set them as high, you set them as high as you want to. It's just when you set that high, so that you gotta go looking even further. Because the person got there and jumped and climb up to the standard. So when you don't set that high, you can't be going to the bar to look for them.
Don't settle that high if you ain't that high. Don't settle that high if you ain't that high. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna never get it.
That's the other thing. But have some standard.
Yes, sir.
And don't start at zero.
I don't have no zero standard. You open to anything.
Nothing. You're going to break. Any final comments before we do so? Oh my goodness, this brother, they I never get an hand from now they get it home. Yes, sir. We're gonna work our way from the middle to the back. Yes, sir.
This is me right here. Let me try to turn it up a little bit.
All money made for the state get a lot of money, get money through, transport, money through alimony.
So what I said real quick was the Almighty don't like divorce, but the state likes divorce. They get money through child support, alimony. They love the contention because they get a cut.
This is multi-billion, y'all talking about $100 billion industry.
$100 billion industry is child support and alimony.
Yes, sir. And also, you know, it gives an incentive to disrespect the man and divorce.
Yeah, and the state gives incentive to disrespect the man and divorce him. It is the state, and that's what I was saying when it comes to the Vashti. The state said that because it was the king and all the princes, that was the state. And they said that disrespecting the man is not good. But the state here in America has something called no-fault divorce where it is good. Let's continue though.
Incentive to divorce, man. Okay, so they what they call no-fault divorce.
They give incentive to divorce a man. Something called no-fault divorce is what I'm saying.
You see all the time. She ain't made no money the whole time together. Now she can have them together. So
she didn't make money the whole time. Now she get half and child support. All right, and alimony.
There's an incentive to get away from, and you know, since the last 50, 60 years, when you talk about who raised these children, these grandchildren, it wasn't the men. It wasn't the men.
I said the last 50, 60 years, who raised these strange children that they were talking about in the scriptures? It was not the man. We did not have primary custody. The women had primary custody. Anything that I'm saying that's wrong. What is the man? No,
that's what made them strange. That's what made them strange.
Okay, that's what made them strange. That the men were not raising them, the women were. And even the reader was intelligent brother agreed with me on this.
That's exactly what made them strange.
But see, a lot of people, you know, okay. So we talk about the man.
Let me hold it for 1 second before you get too far down the track.
Okay, I was cut off. I said, when you talk about the man, then I was cut off. Let's see how I was cut off.
You said the Gentiles, the man, he loved the woman.
Yes.
You said the system loved the woman.
Yes.
And that's all more you love, we should hate it.
Hallelujah.
We love, we should hate it.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point, Aaron. Anything that the heathen love, we should hate. But do our women hate divorce? Even in the house of Israel, do they hate divorce? No, you have no fault divorce. It's an incentive. That's the whole definition of no fault divorce, meaning you can be the adulteress. See, before, if you committed adultery, before no fault divorce, if you committed adultery, then you were held liable and the father would have everything because you have went outside and committed adultery. Now with no fault divorce, it doesn't matter who did whatever. Most of the time it's going to be given to the woman with child support and alimony and the man not being able to see his kid depending on how she feels. All right, that's what's going on now. Let's continue though.
That's scripture. So that's all the reason why we should love it. We should cherish it. We should be on guard against it because we know that he loves it. So we should hate it. Because we know anything, most of the things that he loves, that means it's detrimental to us. So that means we should work harder and fight against it because we know that he loves it. We know it.
Yeah, we can fight against it, but another thing I was cut off from saying is, what about getting a state license? A state marriage license, because there's private contract marriage. All you got to do is type it in Google, and then you can look at images where people have their own contract of marriage. It's nothing strange. Okay, what's strange is getting a license from the state to get married. That shit only been happening for not many years, like not even, but for thousands of years, you had your own marriage contract. All right. But most people, I'm not going to say him, but most people in the house of Israel are going to the state to get married. But the state loves the divorce, as he acknowledges. And so why get a holy matrimony through the state? Why? But, like I said, I can't even bring up these issues because I get cut off.
He wanted us down there in the court, fussing and fighting and breaking up our family. Yeah, we used to work that much harder to keep it together.
Well, you don't have to be fussing and fighting in divorce if you got a license. I mean, not a license, I'm saying. If you got your own contract, if you got a license, you're going to be fussing and fighting with the court because they have jurisdiction. But if you have your own contract, a marriage contract, private, you got to put private in the search engine, private marriage, because it's a private, it's not public. When you get a license, it's public record. You don't have to make your marriage public to everybody. You can make it to the people. Like, you have to have a minister. A notary public cannot notarize a marriage. All right. It has to be a minister. All right. It has to be a minister involved with it. Let's continue though.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Have to get this before you went further. Then he said, who raised the children? Well, if I, like I said, if I'm a man, even if it don't work out with my wife or my woman, nobody else, when I know what I'm supposed to do. See, like I said, and I'm not going back down. Ain't no excuses. Ain't no changing my mind. Ain't no going over.
Ain't no changing my mind. Ain't no excuses. Ain't no I'm prideful. But let's rewind this. Let's rewind it a little bit. We at 334. Let me go a little bit before that. Let me go right here.
Yeah, this work that much harder. To keep it together.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
How to get that in before you went further. Then he said, who raised the children? Well, if I'm, like I said, if I'm a man, even if it don't work out with.
If I'm a man, even if it don't work out with her, he's saying he's still gonna be able to do it regardless of anything. So he's saying, because even Moreh Alicia Israel had problems with his baby mama. What happened? Who shot him? You know what I'm saying? Let's really be technical with this when we talk about marriages with Morehs in the house of Israel. They get divorces. Are they with the state? But he is saying if his wife hates him or he does something, whatever, that she cannot alienate him using the state. Maybe he will have a good legal defense. Maybe he will have mercy with some of them low life ass motherfuckers in the juvenile court. But there is tens of millions of fathers who want to be in their children's life and cannot. So he is exempt and he is better. He is more higher. He has more intelligence than all the millions of fathers. And if you think, am I lying about millions of fathers who wish they had custody but don't and cannot see their children? Millions. We have 350 million people in this. I can definitely say millions of fathers are going through this. If the divorce rate is 70%, millions of fathers are going through this. And you the exempt one, Moreh Aaron. You the one that's exempt. You better than us, Moreh Aaron.
My wife or my woman. Nobody else. When I know what I'm supposed to do. See, like I said, and I'm not going back down. Ain't no excuse.
Yeah. If the state, if she go to the state and they say we call the police, if you gonna still, all right.
Ain't no changing my mind. Ain't no going the other way. Nobody else is gonna take care of what is mine to take care of. That is my job.
Hallelujah.
That is my job. Even if I have to bypass her. Like I said, I know a man, if they took him to court, and he said, I go to court, and he ain't take a lawyer with him. He said, I go to court. He went to court, and he had a big shoebox.
You know why I say that this has to be, he had to add to this story. I won't say it's a lie. So he had to add to it because custody and child support are two different things. So when it comes to money, that's a different court than when it comes to custody. He's saying they're the same court. That cannot be accurate. But listen up, listen.
When he walked in, and he put the shoebox down. Judge said that's the charge. You don't take care of your children. Mom said you don't take care of your children. Blah, 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 blah. He said yes. He said, can I speak to the charge, Judge? He said yes. He said, oh, sure. I ain't get hurt nothing. That's why I did it. He said, whatever receipt in the box, and he turned the box over. The receipt just fell out. Big box, big shoe box. He said, every receipt in here. Check it out. Shoes, clothes, books, all written out. But now he didn't get her nothing. Huh?
That's right.
Maybe that child. Maybe that child. She trying to get money out of the judge said. You just want to take care of the child. No, the truth
was he going to take care of you? You came out and did under false pretense. You ain't getting nothing from this man. Matter of fact, and this is a true story. They asked the man before they got court, do you want custody? And her pay you. And in the mercy of being a decent man.
Now he said, do you want custody and for her to pay you? That's impossible, Moreh Aaron. It's impossible. Maybe you got the wrong information. It's been told to you for a long time ago, but they do not have custody and child support in the same courtroom. They do not. In any courtroom around the nation, there's not one courtroom in any state that does that, Mr. Aaron. All right, let's continue though.
I just want to continue to take care of my child. I don't want nothing. I've been taking care of my, I want y'all not to take care of my child. You right there, her. Oh, God. So you can't raise it. You can't, like I said, and we're cool. We still gonna be cool. But it just ain't gonna go that way, bro. When you talk about that, come here, this point. And
I hope we be cool. You know, I know you are really happy, and you know, we able to cut me off, and I'm being humble and not saying nothing, not trying to butt in. That everything is cool. That you're able to give me a filibuster and not let me speak. I hope everything is cool. If you ever hear this recording and you hear me speak, I hope everything stay cool. All I'm asking for is to be able to speak like we did with Moreh Alicia Israel, where he let us speak. Unless we, you know what I'm saying, doing something very vulgar, he will let us speak and will not cut us off. Let's continue though.
I'm not going to jump on that horse because I know the scripture. I know the order of God from creation.
Okay, but we're in captivity. Like Isaiah 3:12 say, the women shall rule over you. That's what's going on right now. All right? The women are ruling over us. All right? So why don't you deal with that scripture? And you know what? Let me bring something else. Let me bring something else to the forefront of this. All right. I brought this scripture out. Let's get to this. I brought this scripture out. And I asked him, and listen, if y'all think I'm lying, then just bring me to task. Say, man, you lying about this, man. And I would have to find the last time I was in Aaron class and I asked this scripture and it was never answered. What does it say? What does it say though? Nahum 3:13. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. Right? Let's go to another version. New Living Translation. The troops shall be weak and helpless as women. English Standard. Behold, your troops are women in the midst. I asked, what does that mean when the troops are women? Does that mean they weak? What does that really mean? And you know what I'm saying? We can go to Isaiah. In that day, the Egyptians shall be like women and tremble with fear before the hand of the God of hosts. All right. Ain't that what it say? Let's get some understanding. I really don't believe people want to elaborate on the women. I don't, you know, we're not going to talk too much about that. But go to Jeremiah. A sword against their horse and against their chariots, against all foreigners who are in the midst of her, and they will become women. What does that mean? They become women. What does that mean? But let's continue though. Let's not get off track.
It was him, it's man, it's woman, it's children. The scripture says God says the solidarity of a family. And he reiterates, it's him, it's man, it's woman, it's children. God said the fall of the family being disrupted is because to show you, he would take away the man, the honorable man, the warrior, the ancient man, and all these was the mean. And he said, when I take them away, he said, then you're going to have women that have to lead. They're going to lead and rule over babes. These babes going to grow up because the woman,
Now y'all can go to this recording itself. It jumped here. I wish it didn't jump here. I don't know if something happened with the internet, but he did just bring up Isaiah 3 and 12. All right, let's continue. Now, what he telling me is that the Almighty gonna come for me. All right, like he did Adam and Eve, gonna come for me for what I did wrong. And we all know, you know what I'm saying? Because he's answering my questions. We all know the Almighty, you know what I'm saying? What we say in the book at the end of the book of Ecclesiastes, even for the secret things. You know what I mean?
See, this is why my class ain't cool. I don't mind. You respect when I speak.
Okay, he said this is why my class ain't full. Not you per se talking about me. But he said, yeah, he talking about not talking about just me. This is why my class, like I'm just have something against him. I think he does think I have something against him. That's why, you know, he would go on this, you know what I'm saying, type of adversarial thing. Like, you know, he must really think that the reason I don't be there every week is because there's something against him. You know, that's what I really believe.
A lot of it, I'm telling people what they want me and color people. And y'all all love me and I love God, but y'all don't know how to do that. I was speaking to myself, I mean, what I want to hear. Because the only thing that can benefit us is to know what we need to hear and to know the truth. Huh? Nothing else will do. I don't care what it was, nothing else will do. So keep fighting on. Don't give up. Stand in the gap. Assume your place. Clean up the things you need to clean up so that they can't use that against you. I know these other brothers.
Okay, and I have a question about that, Moreh Aaron, because did I do anything that's worth me getting my child taken away from me? You say things are used against me. I'm a school teacher. Do you know of anything that I've done for my child to be taken away from me? I understand we all have things, especially when we deal with the Almighty's laws, that we have to work on. But is that what you're saying, sir? I mean, please clarify that, though. I mean,
I can tell you, and I'm not even in it. They seeing things that they can use. Okay, this strike against you. This strike, and they don't.
So he don't even really know, but he's saying they using this strike and this. No, they said I'm extreme danger, and they said because of what happened on the in court. So I asked twice to get, and I got a video on Unity Ghost where I'm asking twice and I'm getting denied twice the video evidence of what happened in court because I didn't do anything wrong in that court, but they just lied and they denied me the evidence. All right. So it's not everything, whatever you come talking about.
Use that if they can use that. That means you and I have to eliminate that so that they cannot use that. The scripture says that the wicked watches the righteous.
And that is 1000% true, but that's not what they use. I understand what you're saying, though. If they did have something on me, then they would probably, but they don't. So, and I think that's one of the dilemmas is talking from a place that you, I mean, I guess of ignorance. You don't know. They do this to fathers anyway. They're doing it to me. You should know, and you should communicate with me why they're doing this. I guess, you know.
Get the same. But if God will not leave them in his hands, except the righteous man have done some iniquity. They always watch. We have very, that's just us as black men, we have very little room to maneuver. Room for error is small. So it matters where they can jam us up. It shrinks. It's small. I know it's hard, but that means we have to fight with the Almighty. We can't do it.
Everybody had a choice.
So I got pushback from the other side. Of course, she came to me, beautiful sister, beautiful continents. I have nothing wrong with the sister. She came to me and said that it wasn't like that, and I agree it wasn't like that because she didn't get to hear me all the way out. And I told her when she came to me after this that I don't believe it is the women, and I wasn't able to display that. It is the state, like we were reading about Queen Vashti and how the state said that that's unacceptable. Well, the state here says it's acceptable, and I can't blame the women because that's what's going to happen. And it said it clearly, it's going to happen if the state accepts that type of behavior.
Well, that's the problem. And then I do want to get correct. That's the problem. Because that's another thing, and that's what I started squashing. But that's the other problem. And I was telling sisters that we have to overcome.
And I really want to read Deuteronomy 28 and 32 because, of course, Moreh Aaron is exempt from this curse. It said, "Thy son and thy daughter shall be given to another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand." Now, what is these other people? The state. Your sons and your daughters is given to the state. They take them out of the hands of the fathers, and now the state is the one that disciplined them. That's why most of the children or people in jail, period, are from single parent households. All right. Now we talk about how the men are at fault, but understand when you have years that they have no rights to them every time they get a divorce. If they're an unmarried father, they have no rights whatsoever to their child. And every time they go into court, they get done dirty. You have an environment of men running. Because it's smarter to run than to fight the courts, and that's 1,000% true. But see, ignorant people can understand that.
And I speak this because the high count point and said, gather yourself together. When we gather ourselves together, and we trying to really get somewhere, let me tell you what that's what happened. And this on all levels. Sisters gotta be real about sisters.
All day. Yes, sir.
Don't sit there and point the finger over the butt. Sisters gotta be real about sisters. When you get no good men, you got to look at yourself and say,
I got a no good man. That's right.
I don't have very much that I aspire to, and then brothers, they got to get together and be like, man, we just ain't no good. We ain't no good. When I was in Catholicism, my mother and father, they used to have retreats. The women go on retreats, the men go on retreats. And that's how they handle it. And that's what I'm saying. Sisters have to do things and talk to sisters, real talk. None of this blame brothers or women when you get together. We're going to scream on each other. Brothers get together, sisters all women, we're going to scream.
Okay. What I have done is I put the link into the chat. And this recording got about 3 minutes left. If any of you want to jump in the chat, I'll allow you to jump in the chat. Is on Unity Ghost here on YouTube. We're live. We're live for a good 5 more minutes, so you have an opportunity to come up. Okay.
What is brother's problem? We talking about brother's problem. Then when we come out of that room, we come together. We put all the problems out there, and together we help solve one another's problems. With Israel, that's how it should be. Israel got some problems. And together, we don't gloss over them. We don't act like they ain't existing. We got some serious problems. Some folks hating some folks jealous of some folks envious of some folks think they this, and some folks think they that. We got some serious problems, and we'll talk about it, and then when we come together, boom. And when we approach like that, yeah, we're gonna go somewhere. And what we're doing right now is the prayer.
Now, let me just say something with that. Now, as you can see, the problem right before we stood for break, the problem was he never addressed the state. He wants to address the women dealing with the women and the men dealing with the men. But what I tried to present to him is the fact that just like Queen Vashti, we're going to go back to that. When the state tells a woman and gives incentive to a woman, that's when you're going to have mayhem, like he stated. So once again, I believe, and what's going to happen is I'm going to be attacked. He's going to hate me. I can't probably come back in that motherfucker, But what I definitely want to show is when we were with Moreh Alicia Israel, he never stopped us from saying anything, and I don't believe I said anything wrong. And if I did say anything wrong, why don't we just talk amongst each other? I'm not cursing. I'm not saying vulgar things. Let me say what I have to say. You say there's questions or comments. Let me address it, and then you address it. But don't cut me off like I'm adversary, like I'm going against you. I wonder where that spirit is coming from. But I don't see any brothers coming in the chat that want to join. So I want to give all praises and all glory to the Almighty. If I offended someone, I apologize for offending you. I don't believe that I will be. I'm gonna tell you like this. After everything was said and done, it was break time. Aaron walks past and he, gives me not necessarily a hug, but kind of a grabbing me firmly. Ha ha he he. I love the brother. I think he wanted to test and see if I had any type of feelings if he touched me. I don't care if he touched me. I don't care if he hugged me after the thing. I have no hard feelings for him cutting me off or doing what he does. I don't care. It's his place to do that. I come to inform him, and I can say that's my brother. So, I think what he really believes is I don't like him for some reason. And that's why he would be adversarial and stop me from talking and stuff. And that's why he would try to test me afterwards with a little, I think that's what it is. Somebody told him something about what I think about him, and this is my guess. Because for him to cut me off and and to test me, and it's just like, bro, I have no reason not to like you. I just want to ask questions on the Sabbath day, and I want to make comments on the Sabbath day. All right. So I want to give all praises to the Almighty. Let me turn my stuff on and let's get it.
See what it will bring. Fear Yah. Here's everything. Yahweh loves converse the soul. I guarantee she answers everything. To know Yahweh.
Leave people alone.
Leave
them alone.
Mostly prominent. Like Shalom. Because we're dominant. Yahweh's strength is greatly working. The beginning, because he started scriptures written, with 2 ears to listen, women, men, and children. Here is the prescription. Our way of life is not a religion. Hebrew Israelites, the secret treasures hidden. We were chosen and given a mission. They could read the Torah, but not with his wisdom. Praise God. Gotta praise God. Praise God. Gotta praise God. Praise God. Represent. We gotta represent. We have the strength. We also
Leave him
represent.
alone.
Seeking God. Always seeking God. Seeking God. Always seeking God. God is faith. He is our Elohim. We have the strength. We also represent. Pray for your spirit. Keep trusting God. I guarantee he knows it. Remember where he got you. Never